Hi, everybody. I'm Vincent Sherrod, and I'm going to be going over the benefits of bilingual education for my issue project today. Now, I was a bilingual education student myself. I attended an elementary school in Slow County, which is where I'm from. Um, I learned when I was attending, it was 60-40 Spanish to English, although now they are more in line with the traditional TWI uh, standpoint, which is 90-10 Spanish English. A TWI stands for two-way immersion. Other names for this program are also bilingual education, multilingual education, and a dual immersion program. All these can be names for a system like this. A successful TWI should incorporate education on both the language learned and English, or whatever the native language is of the country or area. They should also incorporate information and celebration of the culture behind the language being learned, because a lot of times that part gets ignored, which is really unfortunate. Another important part is the acceptance for different speech patterns, different methods of speaking. This includes dialects, different languages, accents, anything along the like. There's around 1,000 TWI programs here in the US. That statistic is from 2015, so there could be more by now. But they actually are more helpful for non-English speakers when learning English than most EL programs are. And slowly over time, those EL programs are being phased out in favor for these. So there was, again, this done in the same 2015 survey. There was 1,200 EL programs, and that number had gone down from roughly 3,000 about a decade ago. And TWIs also allow for a better understanding of the language and culture for the parents, the students, the teachers, everyone involved, because it allows you this new light into everything. Now, the benefits of a TWI, I'm sure you're wondering about those. Language, the child will obviously learn another language, but as I mentioned, it helps them understand English a little bit better. Having a more broad knowledge of multiple subjects, or rather multiple languages on one subject, can help you use better language to determine what you really want to say. This applies to pretty much all of these categories, but mainly the emotional one. But we'll get to that in a sec. Psychologically, children are usually pushed outside of their comfort zone when learning things like this, new skills, new languages, anything. It'll help with brain plasticity and elasticity, which actually helps with aging later in life. Socially, children are going to be learning this new skill with other people, with their peers, which allows them to interact and solve problems with others who are maybe thinking similar to how they are. Emotionally, children, like I mentioned before, will have new ways to express how they feel and how they see something, because they'll have another language option, and that language can maybe open up new opportunities for them to express themselves. And of course, academically, this pushes that brain to that next level, pretty much. Statistics for TWIs currently, this is going to look more at the politics side. Most TWI systems are considered, it's a left-leaning ideal, although people from all sides do end up supporting systems like this overall. Although interestingly, the Hispanic population tends to support these less, because it's a mixture of a misconception about them not teaching enough English to these students who need to learn English, as well as kind of a poor opinion on just Hispanic members of the community in general that stems from a very systematic root. This is information from a study done in 2015 that looks at the percentages or the demographics of the voters for this study, followed by the percentage of the population that supported TWI programs being implemented. Now, TWI programs end up kind of being, for the most part, they're good. However, there is still quite a bit of issues that need to be touched on. This includes the 90-10 model not being followed. Like I mentioned earlier, when I was going to school, it was closer to a 60-40. And while that was the standard, it was also due to people giving more lenience to speaking English when maybe you should be speaking your other language that you're learning. Lack of cultural awareness can lead to xenophobia and racism, things like that TWIs may not touch on, which are really important that they do. Students introduced into the program later in life may not attune to it as easily as those introduced early on, which, makes sense. The child's brain sort of stops learning languages at around age 8. And then there's always the issues of normal teaching where your politics may get in the way of something, or a parent's politics may, get on your nerves. You might disagree with something that they say. All in all, though, if we can afford to implement proper TWI training in schools, then I think that learning that alongside the language will allow for TWI teachers to provide a more beneficial education for all involved. Thank you.